We have Crafty, he, him pronouns in Massachusetts. And his question is fetish art that overlaps with realistic body types or features problematic for people who have them? So, yeah. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I'm an illustrator. I'm an adult illustrator, and I've actually personally been confronted with this idea before. Specifically, and this was even before trans people became the rights punching bags. The folks who have gender characteristics from multiple genders specifically say that by fetishizing a body type with breasts and male genitalia, that is, or even adding a vagina, that is problematic for people who have multiple sex characteristics. And that was just one of the examples, but I could see as how it could be applied to all sorts of things. Like, we already know that things like Asian fetishes, for example, can be problematic, maybe mostly on the personal level, but I got some direct critique there about that and was wondering what your takes were.
Sure. No, I don't think that we ever really need to come in from the outside and just say, like, blanket bad, never for anyone ever under any circumstances.
Yeah.
It is important to recognize the harm that can be done by fetishizing particular body types or a particular type of person. We've talked on this show before about concerns around racial identities and how we can obsess over them. And we had a really beautiful conversation with Chelsea Poe about trans women and their depictions in pornography. And there's some, really important stuff to be looking at there. But I hate the notion that it would be just against the rules to ever explore in fantasy or through art. I mean, that's what art is for. It's to show us the things that we are curious about, that we are afraid of, or that we're just trying to wrap our poor little ape brains around.
Yeah, and that's interesting too when you talk about fetish and kink. A lot of what gets missed in the conversation is that people can't really choose, like, on a whim who and what they're attracted to and what
Sure. Yeah.
they enjoy looking at. And so there's a difference between objectifying a certain body type and kind of shaming the person, or kind of over glorifying them to the point of fetishism where they stop feeling human and start feeling like an object, or body positivity where it's like there's all these different body types and there's all this range of people that are attracted to all these different body types, and to celebrate that, right? And so, like if I'm attracted to men, women, and trans women of all different, like, whatever the mix of body types, genitalia, whatever, is it okay for me to be attracted to men but not trans men? Right? Like, would I be fetishizing the trans man but not fetishizing the man? So I think it all comes down really to how that person is being treated. And I mean, this is just my layman's perspective. I could be dead wrong, but I think if we're portraying stuff in art tastefully, if we're doing it with body positivity, if we're mixing in other types of body types rather than, like, doing it in a way that might be offensive, or trying to make some sort of statement that would dehumanize the person.
And again, that's just, I think that's a problem that people just have with porn in general, not the type that you're producing. They'll use anything to say you're objectifying these people. Usually it's used with women, are the, hammer that they're using to bash this fucking nail is like, how dare you enjoy porn of any type? How dare you enjoy, looking at a woman's naked body? Now you're objectifying her and you're taking away her agency, and you're, hurting the feminist movement. And it's just like, it's such an overreaction with a lack of consideration. And again, I think it's great what you both said about, like, it's, are you celebrating these differences? Are you, celebrating people who are like this? Of course, you can't be a cartoon, but, or are you, sort of denigrating it, or cheapening it, or whatever? From what it sounds like to me in your description is you're doing this in a really respectful way that celebrates fantasy, and also these sort of body differences, almost like normalizing that a woman can have big breasts and a penis. Like, I know lots of them. So I think, it's all about the way you're looking at things. And that's sort of how I would respond to those criticisms that you're getting.
Exactly, all those things are the ideas that go through my head when I work on any commission, even before I take a commission for art. And I always try to hang my hat on respectability and making sure I'm not, objectifying, as much as I acknowledge that there is a kind of objectification that goes along with making a pinup, or
Yeah,
making
and
a comic where something is happening. Somebody is engaging in something that they have said, this is my thing, this is my kink. I like large lower lips, and I don't care who it's on,
yeah.
that
Right.
kind of
And that's something that, again, we always talk about Dan Savage here, but he talks about like being objectified. He's like, sometimes, we are objects. I am a body, a human body, and sometimes it makes me feel good to be treated like an object. So I think what you're doing is fine. And also there is a category of porn called futanari, which I have performed in, where I had a big gigantic cock that came and squirted buckets up to the ceiling, and it was fun. It was just done in like a almost irreverent and fun, and yeah, I think it's
Yep.
fine
I do hyperfuta art from time to time as well, so that is definitely in my wheelhouse. And the folks that had that criticism leveled at me, I think you're right. It's just a generic criticism against porn, or possibly porn that had hurt them as individuals, which is
Yes.
something I never want to do. But I know that there's always going to be somebody who takes offense just from any kind of visual representation, because
No matter
possibly
what.
they see their own flaws in that and have trouble separating the two. But I also see it as very cathartic for the individuals who commission the art.
So much.
There's an outlet. Yeah, it's just as an outlet. I feel human beings, for the most part, genuinely need to be able to say to another human being, I like this. Can you draw this for me, or make a video or something for me where this transpires? I don't want it to be dark. I don't want it to be angry. I just want X, And I think that's an outlet that just about everybody needs.
Or even if they do
Fair to
want it
say.
dark and angry. I mean, honestly, just being honest about people's preferences being their preferences without trying to shame the person as much as, it kind of works both ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And I can draw dark and angry. I tend not to take those commissions because I don't personally enjoy creating that
Oh, no,
art. But I have
absolutely,
seen
yeah.
art like that where, even if it is a little bit violent, it's still in some way respectful, and it still manages to be quality art. And
Very
as
much,
an art
yeah.
nerd, that's
And
important to me.
I look at some violent pornographic art and I enjoy it quite a bit. So
I honestly think if there's a place to
Yeah.
do violence and taboo safely, it's within the arts, right? Like, you're
absolutely.
gonna
that's
explore
what
a
it's here
subject
for.
that
It's a
could
form of
potentially call
play.
some. Yeah, yeah. If it's gonna be harmful to play out in real life, but you're doing it in an artistic form instead and not hurting anybody, I actually think it's all the more important.
Same. Yes.
Exactly.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. That's exactly how I like it. All right. Well,
All
thank you very
right,
much.
Krafty, thank you so
That
much for
answers
the
my question
call.
perfectly.
You
You're
have a great
Awesome.
night.
Thanks for calling.